Hey everyone, excited to be back for this week's edition of Frequently Asked Questions for Commercial Real Estate. Today's game day, so I'm excited to wear my Cardinals jersey. We're going to be playing the Dallas Cowboys today on Monday Night Football, so go Cards. If you're interested in checking out the game, definitely check it out tonight. I think it starts at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So in today's video, what I really thought I'd do is provide you with some feedback as far as when is it appropriate to build out your space. Now, before we dive into that, let's define what a build out is. Essentially, a build out in commercial real estate is developing the space, the interior of your property, to fit your particular use. So what you generally do is hire a general contractor to come in and then develop the space for your business use. So for example, if you're a restaurant owner and you look at a retail space that doesn't have any components of a restaurant, they're going to be the ones who go in there, put in the restaurant hood, put in the grease trap, put in the 3-compartment sink, really get up to code so that you can operate it as a restaurant. If you're a manufacturer and you're looking to occupy an industrial building, maybe you need specific areas to be able to store materials that are temperature controlled. So that may require you to build out part of the warehouse to have a temperature controlled area where you can store all those materials. If you were a office user, maybe it's going into a bare bones office, a white box essentially, and then building up office space and whatever else so that you can operate within that space functionally. So that is essentially what a build out is. However, what a lot of people don't consider is that build outs can be quite pricey. So in today's video, we're going to highlight in which scenarios would it be appropriate to consider a full build out of a space. So to start off, let's focus on the leasing side of things. Generally speaking, in a leasing environment, I caution people, in particular if you're just starting out in business, to consider maybe don't go too crazy on a build out. And the reason for this is because you may or may not have a proof of concept yet. Now, if you own multiple restaurants or whatever else and you're just looking to lease a space and then build it out to fit your use, that's a different story because you have historical sales you can reference to say, okay, given this space, given the location, given the demographics, given everything else, can I justify the cost of this build out over and spread it out over the course of, let's say, 20 years with a bank? And then you analyze what your monthly payment's going to be and determine whether the sales you achieve from that area can justify that build out. But when you're just starting out in business, it's generally something that I recommend you stay away from. Generally speaking, I recommend looking for a space that kind of fits your use, at least initially, and then kind of work your way up to a point where you want to build out your space, because then at a certain point, you'll be able to justify it from a month-to-month perspective as it pertains to how much you're paying on a monthly basis. So as it pertains to leasing a space, I generally recommend that my startup clients, the ones that are just looking to occupy a space for lease, steer away from a full, complete build-out of a space because you don't have a proof of concept yet. If you do have a proof of concept, maybe that's something that you consider later on down the road. Now, if you're looking to buy a building, that may be a slightly different story. And the reason for this is because the build out itself is going to potentially improve the value of the building for you long term. So it's not like you are going to be building out a space and if the lease runs out, you're essentially walking away from the improvements. No, this is going to be a building that you own and you operate with your business for a long period of time. And generally speaking, it would improve the value of your building because it makes it more functional for whatever your intended use is. So when you're first starting to look to buy a building, same thing applies. If you're a startup concept, maybe consider buying a building that's already built out for your use. Now, if you're an established business owner and you've had multiple years of sales and you're just doing very well from you were leasing a space before and you're doing very well and you're looking to buy a building that fits your needs, then maybe consider doing a full build out on a space. If you find a perfect location, if you find a building in a perfect location that maybe isn't completely functional for your use, that may be a time to consider doing a build out on your space when you're buying the property. And I will say, as far as build outs are concerned, a lot of banks will be able to finance that through various methods, whether that's a conventional loan or what I often recommend to clients, in particular if they've been in business for quite some time, is to look at the SBA route, because they'll finance everything from the purchase of the building to the build out of the space, and then maybe potentially any equipment that you're going to have within that space. They can roll that all into one loan. A lot of times the down payments are much more competitive as it pertains to when you compare it to conventional financing, so between that 10 to 15% range, and the amortization period, meaning how long the payments are spread out, are generally longer, because in conventional loans it's probably about 20 years, and then with SBA it can be up to 25 years. So hopefully you gained some value from this video. Really, my hope is that it just gives you some perspective on whether or not you should pursue a build out, because I've definitely worked with clients that have been gung-ho about doing a build out, and then we get the quotes back and they're just like, whoa, I didn't expect it to be this expensive. And obviously that puts a damper on their dreams of owning a property that's perfectly fit to their space. But what they don't realize a lot of times is that you can work your way up to that point. But it's better to establish a strong cash flow from your business before you start going crazy with some of these expenses on the front end. So hope you enjoy this video. If you like this video, feel free to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. I always love providing awesome and engaging content related to commercial real estate. If you're looking to buy commercial real estate here in the Louisville area, feel free to reach out to me. My number is 502-536-7315, or you can reach me via email at Raphael@grisantegroup.com. So I guess we'll see you guys next week, and go Cards.